Today we're going to talk about credit scores. Now, first of all, I am not a credit expert. I never pretend to be a credit expert. I always tell people if a lender is giving you credit advice, run, right? We're not credit experts. We shouldn't look at your credit report and say, hey, if you pay off this, this, and this, your score will go to this. We don't know. We're not credit experts. So that's my disclaimer. And this is not a video about fixing your credit. So what this video is about is why is my credit score lower when a lender runs it? Okay, we get that a lot. And the reason is a lot of people are looking at certain sites such as Credit Karma. They might be looking through like their credit card, which runs one bureau, okay? As a lender, when I run your credit, I'm running it through Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And I use the middle score. So if you have a 700, a 680, and a 650, I'm gonna use the 680. Now, you might be like, but I looked at my credit and it was 700. Well, maybe the bank card you were looking at was off of that bureau, okay? But what happens more often than not is that the scores you're looking at are based off of a certain amount of debt. So a credit card company, for instance, might give you an estimate of your credit score based on if you're opening a new line of credit. Now, the way your score is determined is they're assessing risk. So is it risky for you to have a credit card? You know, if it's 10,000, maybe it's not that big of a risk, so the score's higher. If I'm looking at $1 million mortgage, maybe the score's lower because that may be a bigger risk. So what's important to realize is that when a lender is pulling your credit, we're pulling it based on a different set of parameters. We're pulling it with the intention of taking out a very large amount of debt. So, and I know the Credit Karma thing really upsets people because they're like, but Credit Karma, and I like Credit Karma. I like that it's free. I like that it tells you if stuff's gone on your credit. I like they have some really good articles, but it's important to know it's not the be all end all. And if you go through their disclaimers, they'll say that. They're not a mortgage company pulling your credit, okay? So if, let's say you're gonna buy a house conventional, minimum credit score is 620. And if you're looking at Credit Karma and you're at 620, there's a really good chance that when I pull your credit, it's gonna be lower. If you're looking at Credit Karma and your score is 700, let's pull credit, right? There's all these different ways that lenders are trying to determine how and when to pull your credit, but it's not an exact science. And that's something that's very frustrating for people because they're like, well, wait, why don't you know exactly this or that? And it's like, the credit bureaus have done a very good job of making sure people don't know exactly what to do. It's their private proprietary scoring model. That's why as lenders, we're not supposed to give you a copy of your credit report because it's their private proprietary scoring model, okay? So if you're frustrated because you feel like your lender's lying to you because they're telling you a score lower than what you're seeing online, just ask them to send you a copy of the scores. They can always do that. We're not supposed to send the full credit reports. And I actually did some really interesting training because since I'm licensed in 43 states, I do so much training, guys. It's crazy. And they had a really good example of what happened. So basically what happened is this woman, she had filled out an application for Bob Jones online. And she had all the basic information, but she didn't have everything. So after she filled it out, they didn't know it was a woman. They thought it was his wife. And she's like, oh, hey, yeah, I filled out the app for my husband, but you know, I couldn't, I got confused. Can you send me a copy of the credit report? I think there's an error. And they sent a copy to the wife of the credit report. It wasn't his wife, guys. It wasn't his wife. It was an ex-wife, in this case, that had enough information and was trying to get information from his credit report based on his spending for a court case. Yeah, deviant, right? But then there's also all these identity issues where, like, you know, you can basically get a credit report with name, social security, and date of birth. The actual credit report itself gives so much more detail for people who are trying to steal your identity. That is why they are not given out. It is for your protection, okay? You can go to get a free credit report. There's like 9 different places you can go and get a free credit report so that you can see what's on your credit. So if a lender's saying, I'm not going to give you a copy of the credit report, it's not because we're trying to hide something. It's not because we're being deceitful, deceptive, or mean. It's literally because we could lose our licenses over it. Yeah, I was like, because I always been like, and there's probably older videos where I'm like, if they won't give it to you, they should. After hearing some of the cases around why the bureaus don't want you to give it out, I was like, oh yeah, like never again. Like, no, thank you, ma'am. Because it is staggering how smart criminals are, and then also like how smart exes are, you know, whether it be an ex-wife, an ex-husband, an ex-boyfriend, an ex-girlfriend. You know, we see stuff even on our side. Like sometimes I'll pull someone's credit and I'll be like, hey, like we need to go through this. They'll be like, why? I just have a car payment. And I'll be like, no, you don't. What? And there's like 30 credit cards. And I'll go through it. I'll be like, you have a Kohl's card. You have this, you have that, you have this. No, I don't. No, I don't. Well, guess what? Her ex-boyfriend had all of her information and had opened up credit cards in her name. Yeah, and he was making payments on them. We went to the mailing address and I was like, did you ever live at da-da-da-da-da? And she was like, ex-boyfriend's house. And I don't know what he was doing with the Kohl's card. Like that feels like more of a woman thing. So I don't know if there was another woman involved. Maybe guys like Kohl's. I don't know. Feel free to chime in. But the bottom line is, credit, credit, credit. If a lender's telling you your score is lower than you expected, they are not trying to mess with you. They are not trying to get in your head. It is because we are looking at a larger amount of debt. We have zero control. I keep on looking out the window because I've got these patio umbrellas that are about to fly. And it's hot and it's California, so it's a little scary. Anyways, they're not trying to torture you. It's just because it's looking at bigger debt. In terms of your credit score, if you're like, oh, well, let's say you're at 619 and our minimum requirement is 620. I can't do anything. I have zero power. Like I can't magically make your credit score go up. I can recommend you to a credit expert that will fix your credit. But if a lender's going to tell you how to fix your credit, like in detail and what collections to pay off and everything else, get a credit expert, guys, like a real one. And I'm sure I'm going to get 32 spam things on this. If you see anyone at the bottom of this video saying that their credit was fixed by a company, it's a robot. If you see anyone saying that they offer great credit repair, it's probably a robot. So be very careful about who you use. But bottom line, Credit Karma, mortgage lender, do not match. Bank pulling, mortgage lender, 50-50. Okay, that's the overview.